So we finally get to see what the last Saab might have looked like, kind of. After a story that reads a little bit like a telenovela, it seems that Saab is finally wrapping down, and we get to see what the project is they've been working on for the last 10 years. And I, for one, am sad to see it didn't come to market. Welcome back to All Cars, y'all. I am John. I'll tell you up front two things. First off, this does come from The Drive. I'll provide a link to their article below, but they are the reason that I found out about this at all. And number two, all images are copyright of Plint, and I appreciate being able to use them here to show viewers what this is. Now, Saab has been working on a brand new EV car. They've been doing so for about 10 years. Now, apparently they had about 6 different projects they were all working on, but except it's not Saab anymore. So let's roll back and not do a whole history of Saab. I've already got one of those. But when Saab was ending its life, it went through bankruptcy, got absorbed, it went through another bankruptcy, and eventually it became known as or part of NEVS, which was going to make electric 9.3s. And apparently they did make a few. They entered a partnership over with China, but eventually they became part of Evergrande, a large property developer over in China with apparently tons of money to spend because they started a whole second EV company. But you may have heard about them in the news in the past couple of years because of they've hit a debt crisis of themselves. And so NEVS, I'll call them, is slowly shutting down. Although they've continued to work and they still have their plant over there, they've slowly been downsizing and still not selling any real cars in any kind of volume. They had about 650 employees, and some time ago they laid off about 300 of those. Well, just recently, with the issues with the parent company, they've apparently suspended operations on developing any new products. They've laid off another, I believe it's 320 out of 350 employees, and they've put NEVS on pause. They're not doing anything. So this bodes very poorly for the company. But they've been working on a new car, which is called the Emily GT, and it is spectacular looking. So this is what Saab, that's not Saab, has been working on to bring to market, a pretty special EV. Now, and it's important to know here, I keep saying Saab because I want to believe, but they actually, all these machinations, the company lost the ability to use the Saab name. It's back with the parent defense contractor, Saab, and NEVS doesn't have the right to use it. So you'll notice in these pictures I'm going to show you that it's a NEVS, not a Saab. Very important here. Now, the specifics of the car are pretty astounding. It has a 621 mile range between charges because it has a 175 kilowatt hour battery. That is absolutely enormous. And they were going to have 2 other versions of 140 kilowatt hours and 105. And each wheel had its own motor making 121 horsepower, giving it 484 horsepower total. Now, these motors were actually sandwiched between the wheel and the brake disc, and it allowed torque vectoring, which gave it apparently a fantastic handling. In fact, to the point they could actually torque vector to change lanes without ever having to change the steering wheel. It does seem like the company is closing down. It has been put into, quote, hibernation mode. Apparently part of, or the factory has been leased to Polestar. And most importantly, while the article I read actually said that the car is actually for sale, if you go to the NEVS website, it actually says, quote, we are closing down our product development activities in April due to the hibernation plan the company is currently going through. However, business and administrative activities will continue for the moment. Now, what I've read is that the company values itself about $1 billion because they do have a factory that is up and working, or can be functioning as a factory. And so they really see value there. But the question is whether another business or a venture capital firm is going to step in and try to take this on and revive it. My personal feeling is no. Who wants this when the car has no name recognition whatsoever? But as for the car, it's gorgeous. It looks a lot like the last 9.3. They didn't sell very many of them, so you'd almost never see them anymore, but it's sleek and it's really good looking. I particularly like the little ridge in the middle of the hood. The front end is really well done. It doesn't look as generic and boring as a lot of EVs out there, but the interior, oh my gosh, this interior is absolutely gorgeous. All of the touches around here all just make me wish that Saab was still around and providing some of those special cars they provided over those years. And how nobody with deep pockets has been able to pick this up and restart it is absolutely beyond me. There is a place for Saab in this world, but I do ultimately believe that since they've lost the use of the Saab name, their value is not there except as just a plant. Because if you bring Saab back, that's one thing. You've got some brand equity there that people want to tap back into and recapture some Saabness. But what's a NEVS? It's just a shame that this is how it's going to end, at least in my opinion, because I think this thing's gorgeous. And that, my friends, is the Saab we can't have. Thanks for being here.